Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to JBSA, Texas. I am Technical Sergeant Kaylee Sutherland, and I will be your narrator for today's ceremony. Today is a historic day as we celebrate the activation of the 37th Training Wing Human Performance Squadron and assumption of command by Lieutenant Colonel Dan Cassidy. Our presiding officer for the ceremony is the Commander, 37th Training Wing, Joint Base San Antonio-Lackland, Texas, Colonel Lauren COURCHAINE. Before we begin, there are a few special guests we would like to recognize this morning. The Deputy Commander, 37th Training Wing, Colonel J.P. Odell. The Command Chief, 37th Training Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Carlos Damian. Mr. Brian COURCHAINE. Additionally, we extend a warm welcome to all commanders, chiefs, first sergeants, colleagues, family, and friends. Thank you for attending today's ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the playing of our national anthem and the invocation.
Gracious God and giver of all wisdom, we are gathered together before you to mark this transition in time and space when the Human Performance Directorate becomes the Human Performance Squadron. We thank you for the wisdom and guidance that you have provided to Colonel COURCHAINE, Colonel Dodell, Chief Damian, Lieutenant Colonel Dillon, Susan Grebenor, Cindy McKenzie, and all other key players who brought this transition to fruition. We ask you to be with all of us gathered together to mark this transition and enable it to go seamlessly. We know that you have created us to be complete humans, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. So we are grateful that this squadron's primary purpose is to equip these warfighters in all those domains so that not only can they accomplish the mission they've been given, but can have a fruitful and flourishing complete life, even in the face of adversity. So we ask you, your hand to be on all the IDMTs, athletic trainers, data analysis, military training consultant services, and encourage them to strive to reach the goal of everything best is not enough. We humbly ask you to guide Lieutenant Colonel Cassidy and the rest of the leadership as this transition becomes reality so that there may be integration across all facets of human performance. In all things, we thank you for the opportunity to serve this great nation, and we ask for protection and guidance as we go out to serve others as the gateway of the Air Force. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Cave. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. I would now like to take a moment to give a brief history of human performance within the 37th Training Wing. The Military Training Consultation Service was established in 2013 to support the people and mission of the 737th Training Group. In 2021, the wing established a directorate to project human performance consultation and support to trainees, students, and permanent party across all facets of the training mission. Today, the wing's human performance team staffs 14 operational medical clinics, supports field training exercises across a 33,000-acre area of responsibility, and develops, evaluates, and fields human performance programming in service of 42,000 trainees and students annually. We are proud to establish this interdisciplinary capability in direct support of the gateway to the world's greatest air and space forces. Before we proceed with activation and assumption of the command ceremony, it is my pleasure to introduce the commander of the 37th Training Wing, Colonel COURCHAINE.
What a great day to be an airman. Even better day to be part of the 37th Training Wing. This is such an awesome opportunity to highlight not only the importance of human performance. Can you all hear me? Do I need to use my microphone? Okay. To not only to highlight human performance and all the work that's been put in to get us to this point, but to truly translate the importance of this squadron to this wing and to the warfighter, right? Because everything we do has to be through the lens of lethality and how do we ensure that losing is not an option. And I couldn't think of a more important squadron to help build the foundation of that knowledge, understanding, expertise, and execution than the 37th Human Performance Squadron. So under the tutelage of Lieutenant Colonel Karen Dillon and her work with the team and the Human Performance Group, and all of the dedication and focus to making sure that the paperwork was just right, to stand up a squadron underneath the wing, which is not normal, to be able to connect what we teach in basic military training to how we operate in technical training, again, to give our airmen, both trainees and permanent party, that knowledge and understanding. If we take for a moment the assumption that is trending towards fact, that the next fight is going to be a cognitive one, that means that we have to figure out how this mind and this body, at the individual level, at the team level, and at the Air Force level, can operate in synchronization so that we can ensure everything that we do, every decision that we make, every problem that we encounter becomes an opportunity that we can succeed to ensure that we maintain the privileges and the lives that we live today, to ensure that our children can still enjoy those privileges and never have to learn a foreign language as an edict, vice a decision of their own accord. And so it reminds me of one of my favorite quotes. It says, "The highest levels of performance come to people who are centered, intuitive, creative, and reflective. People who know to see a problem. They know to see a problem as an opportunity." And if we can ensure that our airmen, big A airmen across the entire wing, know the benefits of human performance and how we need to be ready at any moment with no notice, that by taking care of this body across all of the avenues that the human performance team teaches us about and talks to us about, then we will be prepared. And we as the 37 Training Wing can feel confident that we are sending the right airmen out to the force so that our colleagues that are going to receive those airmen know they are getting the best and the brightest and the most highly proficient airmen that they can get. Many of you have experienced a lot of the education courses, a lot of the support. You've come in contact with the HP team. You know that Lieutenant Colonel Kieran set a foundation for success and that Lieutenant Colonel Dan Cassidy is the absolute right person to usher this new squadron into existence. I have not met somebody more passionate well, I've met quite a few people that share his passion for taking care of people and ensuring that they have everything that they possibly need in this environment to succeed. But then he takes it one step further and he convinces them why they should make the right decisions to be as successful as they possibly can. And so I'm excited as we stand up this squadron to be able to see how far we can take this idea of human performance, initiative, cognition, taking care of oneself to be effective, and how much this wing can infiltrate the rest of the Air Force and change a key dynamic of our force so that we can say, with the same profound emphasis that the airmen say we will not fail every week on this parade field, that we know that losing is not an option, and that we are going to make the right decisions, and we are going to execute with the utmost lethality, precision, because we have a foundation of human performance. Before I close, I want to say thank you to everybody that made this possible, working through that paperwork and convincing higher echelons that this is the right answer. Standing up this squadron is the right thing to do. There was a lot of hours, a lot of eraser marks, a lot of redos, and I thank you for your perseverance and your time. Thank you for everybody that continues to help each other out, whether it's through the human performance team or whether it's through all of you guiding your airmen to this team. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for having those awkward conversations with your teammates, holding that eye contact for longer than 3 seconds so that you can see behind the surface and see when someone needs just a little bit of help. They just need somebody to talk to that cares about them as a person. And it's going to make the difference, will be that click moment in that airman's life. Thank you for what you do. Dan, I hope your running shoes are good and they're new, because we are going to be off to the races. And I know your team is ready, and I know you have a lot of programs that we're ready to execute. So thank you to your team. Thank you to everybody who put this event on today. And without further ado, let's get this squadron stood up.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the activation of the 37th Training Wing Human Performance Squadron.
Publish the order.
Attention to orders. Department of the Air Force, Air Education and Training Command, Special Order Number G-23-062, the Human Performance Squadron is activated at Joint Base San Antonio-Lackland, assigned to the 37th Training Wing on 7 November 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It is my honor to welcome the commander of the Human Performance Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Dan Cassidy.
prepared some written remarks to navigate this occasion with uncharacteristic pith. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks to each of you for joining me to observe the activation of this, the 37th Human Performance Squadron. The fact that you're here necessitates your absence elsewhere, and so I'm put in mind of time, and especially how each of us chooses to spend it. Time is a non-fungible commodity. No more can be earned, and the seconds, minutes, and hours are, once spent, unrecoverable. Where and how we allocate our finite time and the energy and attention it holds tells much about our priorities, the things we judge to be important, the things for which we are willing to bleed. What time we spend here at the gateway to our nation's air and space forces bears consequentially upon the fabric of our national defense enterprise, the people of whom it is composed. I speak confidently on behalf of my human performance teammates in affirming that it is our privilege to stand up this squadron in support of the 37th Training Wing's mandate to train and equip profoundly capable airmen and space professionals. The 20th century polymath W. Edwards Deming is credited for asserting that everything best is not enough. Deming was, among much else, a systems theorist. He understood that the performance of the system is not the sum of the performance of the constituent parts, but instead a product of their interactions. Activation of this squadron sets the occasion for optimization of a system-level output, the realization of human potential across the continuum of training and beyond. My colleagues and I thank you sincerely for this opportunity to be of service.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Cassidy. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending today's ceremony. Please stand and join us in singing the Air Force song and the departure of the official party.
Off we go.
Into the wild blue yonder, climbing high into the sun. Here they come to meet our thunder. At him now, give him the gun, give him the gun. Down we dive, spouting our flames from under. Off with one hell of a roar. We live in fame or go down in flames. Hey, nothing can stop the U.S. Air Force.